At that moment, I knew I had to find Terry's grave, say goodbye, and put my feelings to rest. Back in Cedar Rapids, during one of our Saturday morning support group meetings, I shared with others my decision to go to Richmond, Indiana, and to find Terry's grave. I had gained much from attending these meetings and sharing thoughts and feelings with other divorced Vietnam veterans. One member said he would help me find Terry's grave. He was true to his word. In less than 2 weeks, a letter showed up in my mailbox from the city clerk, Richmond, Indiana, providing me with the information I needed. I knew when I would go and the items I would place on Terry's grave. Exactly 17 years after Terry's death, on June the 10th, 1983, I, along with my 2 small children, arrived in Richmond, Indiana, and stood in front of a granite stone in Earlham Cemetery. Many thoughts and memories passed through my mind as I said my goodbye to Terry. I left an American flag, flowers, a brief note with my name and address wrapped in a plastic bag. The healing had begun. Upon returning to Cedar Rapids 2 weeks later, much to my surprise, a letter had arrived for me from Terry's parents, Bud and Josie Wiles. They thanked me for remembering their son. I wrote back. After corresponding for a year, Bud and Josie invited me to visit their home in Eaton, Ohio. I knew accepting this invitation was a risk, but one I had to take. I had heard of other such visits under similar circumstances not turning out well. But when I arrived at Terry's parents' home, they were waiting for me in the front yard. I had an immediate feeling of warmth and acceptance. Bud Wiles and his brother Irvin bought me a fishing license and hauled me over to their favorite fishing hole. I was introduced to members of the family, both immediate and extended. We sat, talked, and ate. We enjoyed the swimming pool. I learned that for more than 7 years, Josie visited Terry's grave at least twice a day, and she would do nothing that would interfere with this ritual. Finally, her husband insisted that they move away from Richmond, and he purchased an acreage near Eaton, Ohio. On the morning prior to my return trip to Cedar Rapids, Bud asked me to help him gather eggs in their hen house, something I had never done and knew nothing about. As Bud filled his basket with eggs, he looked at me quietly and asked, "How did my boy die?" I answered in a way that assured him that I had indeed been with Terry when he was killed and that his death was instant. An immediate look of relief appeared on his face and tears came to his eyes. I felt as if God was with us in the hen house at that moment. It was a moment that would change both of our lives forever. On my trip home, I felt that my burdens had been lifted and that my feelings of guilt and anger had subsided. Shortly after my return to Cedar Rapids, I received a letter from Josie's sister. It read, "Hello, Jim. How are you? I thought I would write to tell you how we were happy to have you to come here. I don't know how you feel, but Josie and Bud Wiles are very happy they are able to talk about Terry in a way that you can tell they feel much better. Thanks to you. Their grandsons really liked you very much. They asked if you were coming back again. We hope you will come back again and stay longer. Well, thanks again, Jim. Your friend, Sherry Young. God had brought healing into each of our lives. Thank you.
Will you please stand as we sing hymn number 569?
beautiful service. We thank you for your service here, and we thank you for your service here.